How's it going, guys? Good morning. So glad you guys are here today. This past week, we celebrated 2022, and we talked about 2023. We call it Celebration Night. We do it once a year. And one thing that I like to do every celebration night is celebrate our past, because this church has been in Ocean Beach for over 100 years. And so I brought some pictures to celebrate the past, and that's our first building. Yeah, first building, 1915, and Tom was there. Tom is our board member. Tom's our board member. Like, wherever you go at OB1, he shows up, and he shows up with a cake. Like, hey, let's eat. And the next picture, 1932, and Tom was there as well. But anyways, just for fun.
He's on the right.
Yeah, Tom's right there, 1932, right there. So again, isn't that kind of cool how like in 1932 the building was completed, right? The same building we're sitting right now. So I'm so proud of our church, and we get the opportunity to continue what God started here such a long time ago. Now, we're in this message series that is called The Church I See. One of the things that God does with leaders, He sees the potential of a church. What can we become in the future? And so that's why it is the church that I see. And so last week we started talking about our mission statement, and that our mission statement, it's on the slide as well, that we, not just as a church, but as individuals, we live now to help people, and to help them know God, and to help them find freedom. And we know it's not overnight, and finding freedom is a long journey. We know that. But last week PK started talking about that the heart that we got to have if we want to help people is a gracious heart. We have to be people of grace. We have to be a people that if we go to work and if we go to school, wherever we go, we have to go with this mentality. I am here to help people with love, with kindness. I am here to help my clients. I am here to help people. And the heart behind it, it has to be a gracious heart. Why? Why grace is the main ingredient? Scholars, they stopped one day and they asked themselves, what is the main contribution of the church to society? What is the main contribution to society? And they stopped and they were battling, talking back and forth, and they stopped and they realized that the greatest gift that we can give as a church and that we can give as followers of Christ is the greatest thing that we received from God. And what is the greatest thing that we receive from God? His grace. We didn't receive His justice. We didn't receive His judgment. Jesus received the judgment for me and for you. Church, I don't know about you, but I deserve to be dead. I deserve to be dead. And I'm not exaggerating, family. And if I'm not dead today, it's because God was gracious to me. I'm not exaggerating, family. I got saved when I was 24 years old. And before that, there were no guardrails in my life. It was drugs, all kinds of drugs, and it was drinking and driving. And I'm not saying to be proud. I'm not proud of any of this. And by the way, I get passionate about this message, and I'm not angry at anyone. I am just passionate, okay? Tell somebody next to you, he's passionate, not angry, okay? I'm passionate because it is the main thing, your greatest contribution, and my greatest contribution is grace. It's grace. Because it's the greatest contribution we receive from God. He was gracious to us. Jesus takes the penalty of what we deserved. Justice is served on Jesus, right? And He's being like, the whip all the beating, the carrying of the cross and dying for us. Justice is served. God does not put it under the rug. It's served. It's justice. But now we are recipients of what? Grace. And PK started last week talking about the woman that was, caught in adultery. And they bring her to Jesus. She's committing adultery. She's breaking a family, guys. 2,000 years ago, like ultra taboo in that time. Then they bring it to Jesus, and they were like, okay, we're ready to stone her. And Jesus was like, okay, all right, you guys want to go there? For sure, you guys want to go there. Okay, he who is perfect, and if you have no sin, throw the first stone. Grace. What did she deserve, family? In the Old Testament, she deserved to die. But now, in the generation of grace, in the season of grace, in the new covenant that we live in right now, people are worthy of grace. Are you following me, family? And then he goes like, everyone leaves. And he said, you know what? I'm perfect. I know I'm paraphrasing the Bible left and right here, okay? I'm perfect. They didn't judge you. They didn't condemn you. I could have condemned you because I am perfect and I could cast a stone. But I do not condemn you. I will give you grace. Then the elephant in the room that I'm going to talk about it today. Then he gives her truth. And then he says, go and sin no more. But I want you, this is the main conversation we're having here today. I feel Christians, we're getting so much trouble because of the truth. People have to know the truth. And so I will post it on Facebook, the truth. And then we start these battles. Think about when Jesus, let's rewind it. Jesus, woman committing adultery. Now, where does he start? He starts with grace. He starts with grace. It never starts with truth. I hope you're raising kids and nephews. I hope they get a lot of grace from you. Grace, 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 grace. And in the middle of grace, you give them truth. You give them direction. But I hope they're getting a lot more grace than rules and rules and rules, because none of us perfectly follow all the rules. Can we say that we perfectly, I want to and I battle to, but can we say it? That we perfectly follow all the rules. So who are we to cast the stone? So he begins with grace. And when everyone leaves, there's nobody there. He goes 101 and tell her the truth. He's not exposing her with the truth. He's not being a jerk with the truth. See, I'm getting passionate. I'm not angry. He doesn't expose. He doesn't Facebook on Instagram. I can't believe there's people. 101. He brings the truth in a gracious way. There's no one there. He's not making her a spectacle of her shame, of her sin. Right? And so if you and we stop being gracious people, we lost the main ingredient. We lost the main ingredient of the Christian faith. And I believe, family, that we did lost a lot of grace in the church, especially after, election and after COVID. We started battling the wrong battles, family. In the name of truth. Let's talk about this truth then. Did you know that there's different kinds of truth that we deliver to different kind of people in different contexts for everyone. And we graceful. When is a life a life? Then we go online for everyone to see, and we post something against that. So ungracious. We're not thinking about the 14-year-old that doesn't know what to do now because she's pregnant. We're not. We just have an opinion. And we want everybody to know our opinion. But how about finding a way to talk to this girl and listening to her and being gracious to her? This truth is getting us in a lot of trouble in the church because we're doing it, we're exposing people, we're doing it without grace, we're creating division in our culture, and it's embarrassing sometimes to be a follower of Christ. Because if we lose the main ingredient, family, if you lose love, the Bible says it's like nothing. If you lose the grace, it's like nothing. It's just one more opinion. Who cares about your opinion? Really? 50% of the world believes like you believe, and 50% of the world doesn't believe like you believe. So who cares about that? But how about the main thing that we're called by God to do, that is to be graceful? If the church stops being graceful, it lost its power. Completely. It lost the mission. It's lost. It's hopeless. It's hopeless for the world now. And it's embarrassing to be Christians, to be a Christian. When I hear stories like Duck Dynasty, anybody watch Duck Dynasty? Right? Great show. It's not a tricky question, okay? I like Duck Dynasty. I was watching a documentary with them, and they get nasty emails. You know from who? From Christians. What the heck? You know, the big one that exploded the inbox of Duck Dynasty is, if you don't know, Duck Dynasty, they're a Christian show, but they're very real, and they talk about Jesus, they pray, and it's funny. If you didn't watch it, you have to watch it, but there's one episode that this guy, he's so upset that he kicks the trash can. And the trash can flies, and everybody's like, I can't believe you're a Christian, and you're so angry. Like we have never kicked the trash can. Embarrassing. So let's go deeper now. Have you heard those stories of a 14-year-old that gets pregnant in a Christian home and she's kicked out of the house because me and my house will serve the Lord? You sinner. We cannot sometimes be gracious to our own family. And if we lost that grace, that's it for us. That's it for the church. We're playing church. We're singing, and it's powerless. Jesus said, I will give you power, the power of the Holy Spirit, for you to be my witnesses. And what is that power? The power of grace, the power of love, the power of self-control, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, and self-control, the fruit of the Spirit. We're empowered by the Spirit to display these things: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, and self-control. And as they see those things, they see the power of God in an imperfect human being. Yes. You will receive power of the Holy Spirit to be my witnesses. They will see love when they see you. They will see grace when they see you. They will see kindness when they see you. Not perfection, because none of us are. I need tissues. I think that's a big mistake that church in the past did it. It's almost like expecting perfection of people. Like, I'm a Christian, I'm perfect. Good luck. We're trying very hard to be perfect, but there's a bunch of bruises in the journey. Are you with me, family? And so the truth is putting us in a lot of trouble. And if the church loses grace, we lost our main ingredient. I will publicly say this. It's on record, it's recorded, you can go back and watch. I choose, it's a choice, I choose to be a gracious person, and I choose to lead a gracious church, and I choose to err on the side of grace. I choose that. It's a choice. I have people coming to me, Christians, right? You have to talk more about sin, Pastor. You have to talk against this, and you have to talk against that. What is a woman? You have to talk about that. You have to talk about when life is a life. When life is a life, Pastor. Like, I choose to talk to someone that's struggling with anything. I choose to help people. And I am accused to being too graceful. But now you know why. I hope you know why. I choose to err on the side of grace than on the side of being a jerk. Are you with me? Why, Pastor? Why? What's your biblical base for this? Let's read this one verse. I had 3 messages today. I'm not going to go through all the verses because I didn't know which way I was going. And so, all right, read the passages on the bulletin when you get home. But I get this one verse for you that is Romans 2:4. And I hope that, why, Julian, do you choose to be gracious? Why do you choose to lead a gracious church versus a harsh church? And if you're harsh, I'll tell you right now, I'm just going to tell you right now, if you're very harsh and you expect a pastor to be very harsh, you're not going to be a good fit here at OB1. I'm just saying. I'm just going to upset you with my love. I'm going to make you mad if I say things like, oh, you know, you're doing something wrong in the eyes of God. Because I'm avoiding, I don't want to say something. You're a sinner. I will upset you because I'm choosing to be gracious. If you want me to be what I'm not, I can't be that. But look at this verse. It says, do you show contempt for the riches of God's kindness, His forbearance, and God's patience, not realizing that is God's kindness that it is intended to lead people to repentance. What is the gateway between a person not following Jesus versus following Jesus? The gateway is God's kindness. The door. The door from before God to after God. The door is that when people experience kindness, when they experience grace, it is God's kindness that leads us to God Himself. So people need to experience grace. They need to experience kindness and patience and goodness from us. Because grace is the main ingredient. And in the name of truth, sometimes we are delivering the wrong truth to the wrong people in the wrong way. And we're burning the reputation of the church. It is. We are. Go online. What is a life? A life? A life is a life when, the embryo and this and that and this. Are you so passionate about this? Let's find out if you're really passionate about this. Or you just want to be one more opinion on the internet that nobody cares about. right? And it's just creating, blocks for people to experience the kindness and the grace of God. Let me see how really passionate are you. If you're really passionate about girls that get pregnant when they're 13, 14, I'm going to challenge you to volunteer to a Christian organization that does adoption. Let's see how passionate you are. Are you really that passionate? Or you just want to be one more voice? I told you, I'm not mad at anybody. I'm just passionate. Promise, if you know me, you know my heart, right? But if you don't know me, he's like, Pastor's crazy. I'm never coming back there. Was it a message of grace? And he was yelling at us? What the heck? Like, those two don't go together. Because it's like the church. We're losing its power. If we lose its grace, we're losing its power. If we lose its power, we lose its mission. If we lose its mission, we're just plain church. Where was I? Yeah. Let's see how passionate you are. Let's see how passionate you are about what is a woman, right? There's a new topic that is trying to divide us. What is a woman? I get that stuff. Some of the stuff sucks. And I pray that no ladies die in the process. Why? Because when a lady changes sex and fights an MMA fighter that was born a guy, someone's going to die. And I feel like a couple of Olympics will be ruined, right? It will be ruined. I think the next couple of Olympics will be ruined. It will be ruined. There's a bunch of guys competing with girls. Good luck with equality. We're not equal all the time. We're not equal all the time. Right? If a thief comes to my house, I don't give my wife the baseball bat and say, honey, we're equals. It's your turn. I did the dishes. Come on. That's a no-brainer. You don't need to be a Christian. No, my nose is running. Thank you, Rod. I know some Olympics will be ruined. Okay, you ready for this? Let's get ready for this. Our mission doesn't change. Our mission doesn't change if someone dies because she tried to MMA fight with a guy and she died, right? We don't know how crazy this is going to get, but that's not our mission, to try to change the politics, to change the rules of the world. That was the biggest mistake some of the followers of Christ did. They were like, oh, Jesus, he's going to win against the Romans for sure. Now the Romans are going to lose. And Jesus is like, I didn't come for any of that. That's not my mission. I came here to seek and save. I came here to seek and save. And that's no Jews and Gentiles, slaves or free, everyone. And we're there battling the wrong battles without grace, exposing ourselves. There's a way to disagree with things in the Christian way. You don't like what's happening in your kid's school. Go talk to the principal very graciously. Go talk to her. Go talk to him. And if you hate what they're doing at school, guess what? You can always change schools. You can homeschool if you're nuts like my wife. Grace is the greatest contribution that you bring to work. It's not your opinion about politics. It's not your opinion about vaccines. And I have to go there, guys. I have to go there. I know this message is like a porcupine. There's so many thorns, right? That I'm like, God, if I go here, I'm going to poke myself. How do two porcupines hug? Right? Very carefully. That's how they hug. Okay. Now, let's go. Let's talk about politics. All right. Let's talk about politics. I didn't talk to Steve today when he said, if you're going to raise the banner of the Padres, one day you're going to be disappointed. Right? If you're going to raise the banner of the Chargers, no, let's not go there, right, Adam? That's too much, right? It's an open wound still, right? Let's not go there. But any banner that is not the banner of Jesus, it's going to disappoint, family. Our job is not to change the politics of the world. Our job is not to change how people vote. Wow. I'm serious. Our job is to go to work and love on people and be gracious there. And when people realize and see grace, they're like, man, I don't deserve that. I don't deserve your kindness. I don't deserve your help. I don't deserve this. Why you keep doing this? It's like, because that's what I receive from God. I receive grace, and so I give grace. Like I told you, if justice, we're trying to be the instruments of justice in the world. If God was just to me, like I told you, I would have been dead. I drove drunk, let me tell you a few examples that I got home so drunk, family, and I'm not proud of any of this, okay? That I got so drunk that I woke up in the middle of the night still so drunk that I couldn't find the door of my own bedroom. And then when I woke up, I realized, how did I get here? And I looked down, my car was sparked. I don't know how I drove. So the world is not looking for one more person to point the finger. The whole log speck in their eyes and log in my own eyes. Jesus said, before you're trying to help someone's speck in their eyes, would you remove the log in your own eyes? You're no better than anyone. You're not better, you're not worse than anyone. So Christianity is not about pointing the finger. I can't believe they're doing this. I can't believe they're doing that. I can't believe they're doing this. This is horrible. This is horrible. Back to politics then, because we're excited. I don't believe in any politicians. I don't. That's my view. I think it's funny, like, oh, we're this, no, we're that. Did you see the list? Did you see the list of people that are doing insider trading right now? The politicians that are doing that? The list has people on the right and the people on the left. They're all doing it, and it's happening nothing. And we're like, you gotta vote this way, you gotta vote this way. That's not the banner we're raising. We're raising the banner of Jesus. Banner of Jesus. And then we are delivering different truth for different people. Because there's some truths that we give it to people after they cross the line of salvation. They don't need that truth before they cross the line of salvation. They don't. I'll give you an example. You have a coworker, he or she struggling, and she breaks up and breaks up again. There's a new relationship and she's talking to you. We don't go there going like, are you watching pornography? Why? We don't start there. We start there. We don't start there because Jesus, He told us to be a people that our minds are faithful to our spouse, and our hearts are faithful to our spouse, and our bodies are faithful to our spouse. Not just the body, but that's something that He tells the followers of Christ after they cross the line of salvation. And it's still a long process. If you're struggling with pornography today, welcome. I did that, okay? When I came to God, I was 24 years old. It was that I don't know if it was addiction or not. I looked at every day. I'm not proud of it. I looked at every day, and that's how I came to church. I didn't come to church because somebody was like, you're looking at pornography, Julian? Shame on you. Don't you know that your mind, your heart, and your body is supposed to be just for your spouse? No, and you are a jerk, because I'm hurting right now. And I don't want to talk about the things that I'm doing wrong right now. But how I came to Jesus was when somebody told me that God loved me. That God had a plan for my life. That higher than the skies are from the earth. That's God's plans and God's dreams for my life and for your life. When I experience His grace, that's when I came to Him. Let's play a game real quick here, just for fun. How many of you, by a show of hands, came to God because of His kindness and because of His grace? Would you raise your hand? That's probably the majority. I know some people came because they were afraid of hell. I get it. 1 out of 10 people, probably. And so, we got to be a people of grace. Because grace. And so, what would you deliver, Pastor? What would be the truth that you deliver to a person that is at work now? And she broke up and he broke up again, has a broken heart. I'll tell you, here's the truth. The truth with grace that I would deliver is something like this. You know, like I see that you're trying to find love, actually find your joy and your happiness in human love, because you're going from boyfriend to boyfriend or girlfriend to girlfriend and stuff like that. But let me tell you, man, what you're looking for, you never find in human love. The peace that you're looking for, you're going to find in a relationship with God through Jesus. The joy, the purpose in your life that you're looking for, you're not going to find in human love. Human love is the cherry on the cake. God is the cake. Isn't that truthful? That's the truth. But you deliver the truth to the right person in the right context. And even that, you do it with grace. Your friend is struggling financially at work. You don't go like, do you give money to the church or any Christian organization? God doesn't expect that. God doesn't only expect that for followers of Christ. That's not where you start the conversation. You start the conversation, you can start like, hey, are you like, hey, Pastor Chris in my church, he's great with numbers. And I want to help you. Maybe I can introduce you to him. Maybe you can come to a class. Like, I can help you. Let's sit down. Let's look at a budget. You don't go to something that's expected for Christians. But that's what we do. We go online. What is a life alive? Life, the sanctity of life. It's in the Bible. See how silly this is. I hope this changes you forever. This is so silly. I get the intention is good. I want to protect God. I want to protect the values of God. I get the intention is good. But the method is very silly. Why silly? It's like going online and saying we all should obey the rules of Russia. And people are like, why? I'm not a Russian. When you go and put Christian values online and you're trying to shove down people's throats, remember this. Jesus said that narrow is the gate and few will find salvation through Christ. But wide is the gate, and many will find it, that leads to destruction. Meaning, the majority of the people that are watching your posts, they're not followers of Christ. And so with that in mind, now we have to think about, I'm going to post something. What is a gracious thing that I can post right now? Because the world needs grace. And let me convict you here for a moment if I haven't done so yet. When was the last time you posted something like this? Hey everyone, all my 3,000 friends on Facebook. If you're going through a hard time right now, I want you to know that God loves you. And I want you to know that I am here for you. And if you need anything, feel free to DM me. Let's connect. Goodbye. God bless. When was the last time? But everybody knows what you believe about the vaccines. Like how many times? 1,000 times? If you vote this way or vote that way, how many times? 1,000 times? Do they care? No. Did anybody come to Christ because of your opinion on the vaccine? And I'm serious. Did anybody come to Christ because of your political views that are pro this or against that? Anybody like, oh, thank you for telling me that a baby's a baby when it's a 2-day-old? I want Jesus. Anybody? See, if the church loses grace, it loses its main power, and we're losing our mission. And be honest, I know it's not our intention, but if the whole power of the church is gone because we're a graceless church, we're a graceless people, the whole power is gone, the church will die. Not just this church, every church will die. If Christians stop to be gracious, the power is completely gone. It's not going to die, just so you know. It's not going to die. God will find some people that are graceful to continue the work He started. He will find some graceful people. Because what God started, He who began the good work will bring it to completion. Let's bow our heads, church.